I feel like the last couple of years you've like purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, the DeSantis. Yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what? Well, but you seem like you purposely want to set up this dichotomy between, this is a blue state and that's a red state.
Yeah. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception. I mean, it's a profound and consequential moment. And you could sit by and say, well, I really want to get along, as these guys are rolling back the clock.
Bill Maher and California Governor Gavin Newsom went head-to-head in a fiery exchange on Real Time with Bill Maher, and let's just say, it got intense. Maher, known for his sharp critiques of the woke movement, didn't hold back, pressing Newsom with tough questions that put him on the defensive. The conversation quickly escalated into a tense debate, with both standing their ground. So what were the biggest moments, and who came out on top? Let's dive into the details.
The governor gave this creepy speech where he was talking about speculators coming in and talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down.
We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties.
While it's still only 6% contained, and he did this little dance.
Let's break down this clip, where the tension is undeniable. Bill Maher fires off a relentless series of questions, and you can feel the audience holding their breath. The energy in the room shifts as Newsom scrambles to respond, clearly working to defend his stance. But with Maher pressing harder, it's obvious. Newsom is struggling to keep control of the conversation.
You'd be good at the job. Not this year, we know. No, I know. But he said, I don't think he could win. I don't think he could win. He's too progressive coming from this state and what he's done in this state to win in any southern state, any red state. I disagreed, but no, this is a progressive African-American owned station, and I'm sure they like you, but he doesn't think you can win. What do you say to that if you could win look at the swing states, there's only 8 of them.
Right.
Gavin Newsom attempts to clarify his stance, but let's be honest, it backfires. Rather than strengthening his argument, his responses only seem to dig him into a deeper hole, making the situation even more awkward.
Well, I mean, California is an interesting case study, isn't it? It's the size of 21 state populations combined.
Yeah.
2/3 of the state is very deeply red. We don't need to be lectured on rural politics or border issues. I mean, in so many ways, these are familiar issues, and the issues of the heartland of the United States are very much a part and parcel of the work we're doing in this state. But look, I understand this notion that you're from the coast, you don't understand those things. You can't talk the language. You're not able to communicate, and you're not able to actually encourage and find that common ground.
It's stuff like there's a new law in this. I think we have way too many regulations and laws, as we've talked about. And this one, I think, says if you're a department store with over 500 employees, you have to have a gender-neutral toy department.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, I get it.
So you think that's silly? You think that's a silly thing that we too much government there?
If you were paying close attention, you could actually hear the audience gasp when Maher dropped that bombshell question. No one saw it coming. He directly called out a controversial state law, and the look on Newsom's face said it all. For a split second, he hesitated, his voice faltering as he scrambled for a response. Maher had him pinned, leaving no room for an easy escape. But in true political fashion, Newsom did his best to spin the situation in his favor.
Look, that's an interesting one because the department stores came to us supporting that. And they were the ones making a case for that. They were making a case, they're already moving in that direction.
Wanted you to make a law about them?
Well, but they supported the legislation. It wasn't legislation that was enacted, that was initiated from my office, but it was legislation that came up with interesting support from the industry itself. But I understand how that's exploited, and good people can disagree. But that's not something we woke up and said, this is a top priority for the state, when we know the top priorities are homelessness, housing, the issues of crime, quality of life, and issues related to regulation and taxes, which are all top of mind. But I get how those things are weapons.
The question was simple. Does Newsom believe the government is overstepping by requiring toy companies with over 500 employees to have a gender-neutral section? But instead of giving a clear answer, because that would be too easy, he launched into a long-winded explanation. He talked about how department stores supposedly support the move, but that didn't actually address the core issue. Classic political sidestep. This is exactly what happens when left-leaning politicians try to justify their own policies. They dodge, deflect, and hope no one catches the contradictions. But Maher wasn't about to let him off the hook. Watch closely as Bill starts with a bit of flattery before setting up for the real challenge.
All right, so one, I got you here because I live here and I'm not going anywhere. So I just want to make this a better state like everybody else.
Amen.
And good job this year making it rain.
You're welcome. That was my legislative priority.
Maher starts with a little flattery, and you can see Newsom tense up. He knows a curveball is coming, and he's right. The audience picks up on it too, letting out an uneasy chuckle as the tension builds. They can sense. Their so-called golden boy is about to walk straight into a rhetorical buzzsaw. Newsom, ever the polished speaker, was gearing up for his big mic drop moment. But Maher got there first. And when it landed, it wasn't just a mic drop. It was a full-on wrecking ball. Gavin flailed, the audience cringed, and Maher? He just sat back, watching the chaos unfold like he had front-row seats to a political train wreck.
And we still don't have enough water in the Colorado River and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then whenever I read, 80% of the water goes to agriculture. Almonds.
Right.
No one ever asked you about almonds? Oh, I'm going to ask you about almonds. We grow a boatload of
I'm
almonds
well
here.
aware.
You know how much water it takes?
Many gallons.
1,900 gallons to grow a pound of almonds. Come on, man. Take on big almond.
Take on big almonds.
I mean, it's not like we don't have the water.
Another sharp play by Maher. For years, California officials have sounded the alarm on water shortages, blaming it on dwindling river levels. But, surprise, surprise, investigations revealed there's actually plenty of water. The real culprit? Almond farming, which guzzles a staggering 80% of the state's water supply. That's right. Almonds use as much water as all indoor household consumption combined, yet they only contribute a tiny 2% to California's GDP. So Maher's question was direct. What is Newsom actually doing about the water crisis? And that's when the real show begins. Watch as Newsom dodges, deflects, and spins his response like he's trying out for Dancing with the Stars.
Those extreme years with these atmospheric rivers, wets are getting a lot wetter, dries drier, hot's getting a lot hotter. And so we've got to modernize our conveyance system. We've got to modernize our storage, not just above ground, but below ground. And so that's a big part of our focus and frame, including desalination plants. We have 20 projects just on desal that we're working on today. So we put out a detailed water strategy that includes, by the way, getting that Delta Conveyance project back up and operational, and includes the first above ground off-stream storage facility in half a century in the state, which, by the way, is being aided by a regulatory package I pushed forward to reduce red tape in the state of California and address the permitting quagmires that you rightfully point out.
Did you catch that roundabout answer? The question was simple. What is Newsom actually doing about the almond industry's massive water consumption? But instead of a direct response, he pivoted to rainwater storage and broad water management plans without really addressing the core issue. The truth is, California has water. It's just being funneled into almond farming at staggering rates. But rather than confront that, Newsom leaned on political jargon, hoping to sidestep the tough conversation. Even Maher saw it, reacting with that signature look of disbelief. But to his credit, he didn't let Newsom off the hook. That's what sets Maher apart. He's willing to challenge his own side when the answers don't add up.
I'm telling you, you're good at this job. Okay.
Newsom is a master at sidestepping tough questions, which is why he rarely puts himself in positions where he might actually be held accountable. But Bill Maher? He wasn't about to let that slide. His sarcastic jab here says it all. He sees Newsom as just another slick politician, polished on the surface, but lacking real substance. Or maybe Maher sees him as the kind of guy who can talk, in circles for hours, spinning vague answers with such confidence that even he might start believing them. Either way, one thing is clear. Maher isn't buying what Newsom is selling, and neither should we. But if you thought that was bad, just wait. Because what Newsom says next takes things to a whole new level.
I feel like the last couple of years you've purposely picked this fight with the red states. I mean, yeah, but I don't want to live in the Civil War country.
I agree with that.
You know what?
Well,
but you seem like you purposely want to set up this this dichotomy between, oh, this is a blue state and that's a red state, and I don't want to live in that country. I like Florida.
I'm with you. And by the way, I like Florida as well. I like all these states. I completely agree. I don't want to have a state of mind that's a constant fight or flight. We've gone through so much. We've been polarized and traumatized. There's been a tough 5-6 years across the globe, not just in this country. That said, I'm not going to sit back and watch. You made the point just a moment ago in your monologue. You got folks out there trying to bring us back to a pre-1960s world. America in reverse, rolling back voting rights, LGBTQ rights, women's rights, not just access to abortion, but contraception. I mean, it's a profound and consequential moment. And you could sit by and say, well, I really want to get along, as these guys are rolling back the clock, or you can stand tall and assert yourself. And the reason I started to go into those red states, the reason I started to take on DeSantis, and the reason I started doing ads in these red states is I didn't feel my party was doing enough. It was CRT one year, and then it's ESG, and it's DEI, anything with 3 letters. These guys keep coming, and they're shape-shifting.
Why people are frustrated with woke culture. He labeled critics shapeshifters and accused them of dragging America backward, because in his view, questioning the agenda means you're stuck in the past. Meanwhile, the same movement pushes kids toward life-altering decisions while shutting down any debate. Parents who dare to question it, they're painted as the enemy. This isn't just about progress, it's about control. And while Newsom's take wasn't surprising, you know who was caught off guard? Joe Rogan. His reaction said it all.
The governor gave this creepy speech where he was talking about speculators coming in and talking about what to do with the land of all these homes that have been burnt down.
We're dealing with a myriad of issues. I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties.
While it's still only 6% contained. And he did this little dance like, I've been talking with the governor of Hawaii about what to do. We've got some ideas, a speculator, we're going to have some meetings.
And the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
It's so creepy.
When I say these woke politicians are looking out for themselves, believe me, they preach compassion, equity, and justice, until there's money to be made. While Californians fought to save their homes from wildfires, was Newsom focused on relief? Efforts? Policy changes? Not exactly. This is the same guy who shut down small businesses while dining at elite restaurants. The same guy lecturing us on climate change while flying private. Yet the woke crowd still props him up as a progressive hero. Why? Because it's not about results. It's about power. These politicians push policies that hurt everyday people while staying insulated from the fallout. Newsom and his circle don't suffer from the chaos, they just cash in on it. At the end of the day, the hypocrisy is endless. They push division. While claiming to fight for equality, rewrite reality while demanding blind obedience and silence opposition while claiming to defend democracy. Newsom is just another polished politician dodging accountability while benefiting from the system. And the worst part? The woke mob cheers him on because for them, it was never about truth. It was always about control. That wraps up today's video. If you liked the energy we brought, hit that like button and subscribe for more. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.